Coach, your thoughts on today's performance and stealing a very valuable point out of that new venue.
Yeah, well, the first period I thought was very, very even, especially the opening exchanges. You know, we started off very brightly. In fact, the first 5 minutes, I think, you know, we'd forced a couple of corners and effort or two at goal. You know, with some changes in the group, there's always going to be a little bit of understanding and appreciation, getting on the same page. But the first half was almost according to plan. The second period, understandably, they started to take more chances. Some of the guys who have not necessarily seen loads of minutes started to maybe tire a little bit. And coupled with some moments where we're just below par with our quality on the ball, I think we helped them to gain a bit of momentum towards that final 10 minutes. And we showed all the resilience and determination that we've seen so many times out of this group to earn an incredibly good point against a very good team in what, you know, I would class as one of, you know, the better atmospheres that I've been in MLS. It was terrific here tonight.
Thank you, Coach. A reminder for everybody to please alert me through the chat if you have a question for Coach or any of the players who will be coming after him. With that, any of you guys, Dre Hills, we'll kick it off with Dre Hills from Tennessee.
Yeah, Gary, I wanted to ask you obviously about, you know, the way you lined up this team tonight offensively and moving forward. As you mentioned, in the first half, it did seem as if you were able to put a lot of pressure in phases, especially through CJ and through Hani to get those guys in attacking dangers. Was it just the way that they were maybe doubling down on Hani? What did you think was the reason for basically that kind of coming to a stop? Well, not to a stop, but slowing down a little bit towards the end of the match?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. Firstly, I think Dax's mission from a more advanced position, you know, left us in a bit of a void with the two guys, Matt and Brian, who, by the way, got through some incredible work. But we lose that experience, you know, we lose that composure on the ball, coupled with the fact that, you know, I changed Randall out for Alex to find some fresh legs and maybe think about rotations at the weekend. And once you start taking those individuals out, especially away from home, it was always going to be maybe a new page turned. We've had a lot of home games, and I was waiting to see what the mentality and the appreciation of that shape might be like. That we've played at home the last couple of games. And I mean, look, I actually thought the first half we played the game and that period very, very well. They made some changes just purely to some of their tactical approach. And of course, the additions that they brought on got stronger and stronger in an attacking sense. And, you know, Hani and CJ have certainly done their bit for the team tonight. And things started to get a little bit tougher for us as people got tired. But look, when you come away from home, we're not going to have long stages of the game and you know, multiple opportunities at goal. We've got to learn to be a little bit more clinical when those moments come along. But we've also got to show the sort of discipline and desire that we showed to earn points and keep ticking over.
Tim Sullivan with the next question.
Gary, you had a debut tonight. I'm sure that does not surprise you to learn since you put him in. But what did you think of Ake and his first action in a competitive match for your team?
Really, really pleased. Yeah, really pleased. I'm learning more and more about him every day. What a wonderful lad he is. We were just talking about it in the locker room there. He's very team oriented. You know, he's got some incredible individual ability, but his overall mantra is for the team. And I thought he worked hard for the group. He dropped in very, very deep a couple of times to help out with some defending. And even though his English is still, in a difficult place, he understands what it means to have that extra body there. He's not silly. comes from a terrific club and have played at a very high level, and he's rolled his sleeves up for the lads when we needed him most. So really pleased. We were never going to see, what might be his true quality shine tonight. Last 10, 12 minutes under some pressure. The hope was that, we may find the odd counter-attack, but, he certainly gave as much as he could for the group, which is wonderful for the future.
Ben, right with the next question.
Yeah, Gary, just a bit of a different role for Dax tonight, kind of in the middle of the back three at times. I know in the post-game interview on the broadcast, you said it was in part to counter Zelarayan, but could you just talk a little bit about his role and kind of the decision making that went into that leading up to the game?
Yeah, I felt as though there've been plenty of periods at home where we've played with a back three and it's helped us. We've looked right. When I looked at the personnel available to us and some of the things that I wanted to do in terms of rotation, I sat down with Dax and said to him, look, this is what I'm thinking. When we're under pressure, you got the experience to help these guys when needed. But I really want you stepping into that midfield where possible and making up what can only be classed as, a front screen to try and negate the qualities of Zelarayan mostly. Columbus in general are a terrific footballing team. They've got players who want to be in and around the ball. Santos, wants to make his movement inside to allow that fullback to get on. Likewise, Molino when he was on, and Matan. And I just felt as though those extra bodies there would be very helpful to the group. And I think it proved that for a long period of the game. Fatigue meant that they got a bit ahead of steam up and got themselves into some good spots. And in the end, there's some players that had to put their bodies on the line. And I think we know the answer to that. Nobody's going to come up short there.
Claudio Villalobos with the final question.
Gary, you already told us that you're very pleased with this guy's performance tonight. Now, my question is, when you have to actually set up a team missing some players or key figures in your lineup, does it become harder in terms of the options you might have tactically? Do you still have several? Of course, you chose one option today. Do those options remain even when you have those players missing?
I think what we've been able to do in a very short period of time is offer ourselves as a team very good flexibility. And it goes without saying that competition in all areas is the key to form and success for any individual. If someone feels as though they're a shoe-in for the team and ever present, then unless you're superhuman, you can dip below the standards that you set. So competition is key for that. But to your point, I think this group have shown at home for sure that playing with an attacking three and a combination of players in that role with possibly wing backs has helped us. I'm certainly not averse to going back to a back four. I would love to be playing 4-4-2. It's my preferred shape. I think we've got some terrific forwards now. We've probably got more forwards on our roster than most teams in MLS. And I want to utilise those guys when they're fresh and they're bright. They make such a difference. So we have some real ability now to change shape, to rotate the group, to stay competitive, and to ask some questions of teams that maybe before we just weren't able to.
Tell us about the game. Tell us about starting as more of a defensive player versus a midfielder today and stealing a point from this difficult venue.
Yeah, thank you, Christina, for bringing that up. There's a few ways you can look at those accolades, if you will. One way is that you're getting old, and another way is that longevity is is really important to me, and I'm really proud of that. And obviously I've been really blessed and been on some great teams in my day. So, hopefully I can play for 10 more years. We'll see. But the game tonight was difficult, obviously. Coming to a team who I think has been, struggling a little bit for the standard that they set for themselves, being the champions last year. Opening up a new stadium, we knew that it was going to be a very difficult place to play. It's a beautiful stadium. Obviously, kudos to the Columbus Crew, fans, and the entire organization for getting it done. But like you said, Christina, a new role for me tonight. A little bit more defensive, kind of in the middle of a back three, with the freedom to step into midfield when I so chose, depending on what the game gave us tactically. Just tried to play my role, tried to be safe, tried to support the back line, but also help the midfield a little bit with Zeller, who's been fantastic. He finds good pockets. He picks up good spaces, really difficult to track. We weren't really tested in the first half. Second half, they started to throw the kitchen sink at us, and, we bent, but we didn't break. Joe Willis was fantastic. Just felt good to get another shutout again. And, we'll move on to a really big game, and the focus will be on getting 3 points against Cincinnati over the weekend.
I appreciate you, Dax. With that, we'll open the floor for questions. We will kick it off with Ben Dudley.
Hey, Dax. You talk about maybe all these stats mean you're getting older. Watching you on the field, it sure doesn't look like you're getting any older. I tell you, how do you do it? How do you prepare? Because I got to tell you, I'm older than you are, and I struggle getting out of the bed and climbing the stairs some days. And here you are going out, haven't missed a game, playing different positions. What is your preparation like? How do you do this?
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. Certainly have my days, trust me, buddy, where I walk up the stairs with my little guy, and I feel a little pinch in the back here and there, and I just tell myself that it's nothing, it's not important. So I just think I've learned throughout the years what works for my body. Something that I have always been blessed with is a pretty good engine, a pretty good base of fitness. Some things I have not been blessed with, like speed, height, athleticism, all that fun stuff. You have to make up for it somehow. So I try to take care of my body as best I can. I've adjusted some things in my diet. I've adopted yoga. I've done, a few different things throughout my career as I've gotten older to try to continue to not let my legs get out from under me, so to speak. And honestly, I feel good. I have my ups and downs. I have my good days and bad days, but for the most part, it's really important to me to stay on the field. I think that's a player's greatest skill, more so than talent, more so than technical ability, more so than anything else, is the ability to stay on the field. And if you can do that, you're well on your way to being able to try to have a fulfilled career. So I've tried to do that. Like I said, sometimes I've played well, sometimes I've played like crap. But being healthy, you have to stay healthy to be able to have those ups and downs. And so I'm just thankful I've been able to do that.
Tim Sullivan with the next question.
Dax, you mentioned at the beginning there that you guys were under pressure in the second half. And I guess particularly towards the end of the second half, what's the mindset as you guys are having trouble getting out of your own end, as Columbus is generating some looks, but not very many credible chances, I guess you could say? What is the mindset for you guys? Is it, let's just get out of here with a point? What are you guys kind of thinking at that stage?
Well, the mindset is that we have to get out of here with a point at the bare minimum, but we would like to steal 3 if we can. I thought the second half, they're a good team, man. Like they subbed on Bradley Wright Phillips, one of the greatest goal scorers this league has ever seen. Kevin Molino, one of the better players in this league when he's healthy, and a full international, a designated player in Matan. I mean, those are 3 subs that they made to change the game. It's quite impressive and remarkable, the depth that this team has. And even then, even saying that, they're still missing players. And so we knew it wasn't going to be easy. Obviously, the players that we are missing are important players, but I thought our depth stepped up. I thought, Eric Miller and Taylor Washington come in and give you just an unbelievable shift at wingback and do exactly what's asked of them. Same with Matt LaGrassa. That's a guy who's been patient and came in and stepped up when called upon. So the mindset is certainly to get out of there with at minimum a point. But we were going for 3. I just think in this game, while we were very solid defensively, very organized, very tough to break down, we just didn't have a lot of quality going forward in the attacking third. When we did get a chance to breathe and take the sting out of the game, try to take the crowd out of the game, everything that we were doing through the defensive third and the middle third with the ball was pretty good. It was that attacking third where we just didn't see the connections that we saw the last game.
Claudio Villalobos with the next question.
Dax, you already told us that obviously the game wasn't easy at all because of this team, and also you said that you played again with very good teams and for very good coaches as well. Now, how does Gary lands in your mind in terms of your experience on his tactical drawing when it comes to for you to switch into a position like tonight, and if you compare that to other teams and other coaches that you play under?
Yeah, Gary's one of the best, honestly. He simplifies things. He makes things really easy for players to understand in terms of what he wants out of a game plan tactically. And he puts trust in his players. I think that's one of the best qualities of a coach, is a coach who puts trust and faith in players to go and execute a game plan. And so, Gary knows me very well by now. He knows my strengths. He knows my qualities. He knows my weaknesses. And he just said to me before the game that, obviously we are a little thin in the back, and he wanted to rely on my experience to, kind of step into that position and try to shepherd the back line along and continue to try to keep shutouts like we have been doing in the past. So it was a responsibility I was happy to take on. I'm a player that no matter what a coach asked me to do, I'm going to try to do it to the best of my ability. And tonight, there were a few instances where I'm not happy with myself. I made a couple decisions where I could have been a little sharper. I could have been a little better. Luckily, you have Joe and Jaleel and Dave there to cover me whenever those situations occur. But for the most part, I was really happy with how we played defensively. Now it's just a matter of trying to improve things going forward. Getting back to the chances that we were creating. And I know we'll do that when we're at home, but obviously a lot of appreciation for the trust Gary places in me.
Right here with the Tennessean with the final question.
Dax, you talked about really the support that you've had from the guys behind you. I'm curious to know, after speaking with Gary earlier today, he talked about how once Ake got into it, he actually tracked back a couple of times and kind of dropped deep to help out with you guys, especially obviously he didn't come on until the 81st, so it was deep into the game. What's his character like? What have you noticed from him? Maybe something in the locker room that maybe has attributed to how his mentality is. Did you expect that once he got into the game? Obviously, this is being his debut, or is that a surprise seeing how really, as Gary said it, team oriented he is?
No, it's not a surprise, Drake. He's a very nice guy. He's a humble guy. He's a quiet guy. He's come in and he's put his head down and he's tried to get to work. I haven't heard him speak much, but certainly when he does, you don't hear one complaint come out of his mouth. He just wants to get on the field. He just wants to play and enjoy the game. And the game tonight was a very difficult one for an attacking player to come into. We didn't have a lot of possession. Obviously, we didn't have a lot of field superiority, if you will. It was difficult and a struggle for us to hold possession of the ball in their half of the field, which is, I think, where Ake is really going to shine. You saw a few moments when he got on the ball in the corner of his technique, his technical quality, his ability to try to beat a few players and hold the ball and try to create something out of nothing. Once he gets fitter, once he gets more integrated into the group, he's going to be able to add a whole lot to our attack. And certainly that's not to say that he's not going to be asked to defend and track back, but he's humble enough to do it. He just has to get fitter. And once he does, I think you're going to see the best of him.
Joe, let's begin by another shout out for you, the 6th this season. A very difficult game nonetheless. Tell us about stealing a point from from this venue?
Yeah, it was a tough game for us for sure. The first half, we kept a lot more of the ball and limited their chances and did pretty well defensively to make sure that they weren't too dangerous. Second half, they started throwing more people forward and started getting a little desperate for the win. So we ended up dropping back a bit and had to absorb some more pressure. But, at the end of the day, the guys on our team, we all take a lot of pride in keeping a clean sheet. And the defensive effort was incredible from every single person who was on the field tonight.
Thank you, Joe. We will now open the floor for questions. We'll kick it off with Tim Sullivan.
Joe, a lot of times after a shutout, the question that I end up asking you is how do you stay engaged in the game when you aren't seeing a lot of the ball? And that was kind of the opposite of the case tonight. You had to make a few impressive saves and you had a lot of the ball. What is your mindset in a game like that? And how do you kind of keep your defensive players upbeat when it's a tough game for them and you're getting a lot of pressure as well?
Yeah, I mean, Columbus is a good team and they're going to create chances. And to be fair, our defenders played really well and sometimes they're still going to get chances. So when you're seeing a lot of action like that, we had guys making big blocks, big clearances, some saves for me. And when you are playing like that, your confidence grows and you get to the point where you start building up. It's almost like not quite the level of a no-hitter in baseball, but it's similar where you start playing well and you keep the shutout and it's like, all right, we got to keep this going, just 5 more minutes. And then, you just keep that attitude, stay short-sighted as far as, looking at the game and what you need to do for it. So, that's how I stay engaged at least. But yeah, I think the effort from everyone was pretty great. And like I said, Columbus is a great team. So they have a lot of good attacking players. So they're going to get chances. But the effort that we put in tonight was definitely deserving of a clean sheet.
Ben Dudley with the next question.
Joe, fantastic game. Made some amazing saves to keep your clean sheet. You've played behind some really good center backs in your career. You got some great ones here in Nashville. Where would you rate Dax McCarty as a center back?
I mean, he's 1 for 1 now as far as shutouts as a center back. So he's got to be up there. I mean, his success rate is higher than anyone else I've ever played with. But no, yeah, he had a great game. It was a new role for him. But Dax is such a smart soccer player that, you could put him pretty much anywhere on the field and he'd be able to figure it out. So that on top of his leadership qualities, it was something obviously that was new for us having him in that role, but something that everyone had a lot of confidence in.
Thank you, Joe. Dre Hills with the Tennessean.
Yeah, Joe, when you looked at how Columbus had, they like to link up with Zelarayan and Nagbe through the middle, and even Pedro, and obviously how they want to play out wide. When you look at the film and tried to study these guys, was there something in particular that you were anticipating, and how did that compare to what you saw tonight, just based off of maybe how you approached crosses, how you approached, commanding the back line? What was the reality for you tonight?
Yeah, I mean, Columbus is a team that they like to get the ball wide, but to be fair, they don't really send many crosses in. They like to combine. They have a lot of technically gifted players up top, so they like to, play in combinations and try and work their way through the middle. So that's one of the reasons why we had Dax in that role. Even though the personnel maybe could have allowed for a 4-back system, we knew that if we were able to kind of clog up the middle back there, that they would have a difficult time getting chances. So, like I said, they have a lot of technically gifted players who like to play up the middle. So that's something that we kind of looked at and tried to negate.
Joe, you and Dave have played every minute for this club so far, but the other guys in the back line, I guess I won't include Dax in that distinction, but are mostly guys who haven't seen a ton of the field. What does it say about, I guess, the depth of this team and then kind of the mentality of you guys to be able to have some guys step up in positions that they maybe weren't all expecting to play and have big performances?
Yeah, everyone who played tonight played really well. I think it's a credit to the system that we play and the way Gary prepares us. It's at a point where if one guy goes down, the next man steps up and fills that role, you know, and we don't skip a beat. And I think especially this year with so many international tournaments, we obviously knew that we'd be missing some guys at some point. Maybe didn't know we'd be missing this many guys right now, but that's something that guys who aren't getting a lot of minutes always keep in mind. And guys are training, you know, most people only see the games and they see if a guy's playing or not, but they don't see the work that those guys put in every day at training and the attitudes that they have. And that's why a lot of them are ready to go when their number is called.